Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to show you guys how to fill out form I-129F alien for fiancé. So without wasting my time, you go into your browser, you search for USCIS homepage. Always remember, use a browser that will help you edit the forms on your computer. When you come to their website, click on the forms. So this is it. I-129F petition for alien fiancé. You click on it, so it brings you here. They say use this form to petition to bring your, so it says fiancé K-1 and their children K-2 to US, so you may marry your fiancé, or spouse K-3 and their children K-4. So fiancé, you are yet to marry. Spouse, already married. So this form is for fiancé, the K-1 and K-2. The K-2 is if you are bringing your children along. So if you want to bring your fiancé and your children along with them, this is what you fill. But if you want to bring your children later on, it's still the K-2 thing. Yeah. So spouse K-3 and their children is K-4. So if you're already married and you are bringing your spouse and your children, that's a K-3 and K-4. That's the category for them. So this is the form that you fill for both from I-130. From I-130. So today we are coming to talk about petition for alien fiancé. So if you are bringing both your fiancé and your children, this is the form that you use. And I always remember the form is always updated. If you use outdated form, they're going to send the form back to you. This form cannot be filled online. You have to print it out, fill it out, and mail it to them. So this is the edition that you need to use. So the edition is January 20th, 2025. You can also use the April 1st, 2024 edition. So this form is correct. It's acceptable. So yes, you use that one. So where to fill it out? Where to file the forms? So this is the addresses. So if you are using the postal service, the USPS, so this is the address that you need. So always remember, this is the address that you need. If you are using FedEx, UPS, DHL, this is the address that you need. Don't mix them. Don't mix them. Don't write this address and take it to USPIS, the post office. Don't write the post office address and take it to FedEx, UPS, or DHL. No, they are going to reject. They are not going to send it. That's a total different address. Don't confuse yourself, please. And see the filing fee. So the filing fee, as you can see, before they used to give you the filing fee, but now they don't. They want you to go to this place, the fee schedule. You click on it, it will show you the amount that you need to pay. If you enter from I-129F, it will show you the amount that you need to pay. If you are using a credit card, you need to fill out this form. So this form is only for credit card, debit card. If you are want to use a card, so it will ask you for the card information. So your credit card or your debit card, you use this. You need to print out this form and you fill out this form with your card information. But always remember, when you are making a payment, you need to make a cashier's check. You go to your bank, you tell them you're making a payment, you want a cashier's check, they'll make it of this amount, they'll make a cashier's check for you, and you add it to the forms. If you don't add the money to the forms, if you don't want to make a cashier's check and you want to use your debit card or credit card, you put the information over there. You don't put in your physical card, so that this I think probably to ask you for your card information. You put in your card information, so if they're ready, you are processing it, and they just put in your card information. They take their money. And so without wasting my time, let's dig into it. So you click on the forms. So as it appears, I'm using the Google Chrome. So this is how it will appear. If if you want to use an ink, you just download it onto your computer, or you just go ahead and print it out directly and use an ink. But I will advise you to use a browser that will make you fill it up on your computer. That will be more easy, faster, and more effective. So you don't mix up words. You know, you don't mix up words. It makes the forms professional. Yeah. So let's begin. Part one. It says information about you. So alien registration number. So use your alien number. So if you have an alien number, you put in your alien number. If you are an immigrant, that you are in the United States, you are a citizen, but you are an immigrant. You are from a different country and you came to the United States. Yes, you have this number. You automatically have this number. I don't know about those who were born over here. I don't think they have alien numbers. I don't really think, no. I'm not sure about that. But what I know is for the immigrants, they do have alien number. So on your green card, you have an alien number. On your citizenship certificate, there's an alien number, the same alien number over there. You put it over there. But if you don't have it, you leave it blank. And if you have a USCIS online account, you put it over there. If you don't have it, you leave it alone. A social security number. Once you live in the United States legally, you have a social security number. Yeah, everybody has a social security number. If you live in the United States legally, you have the social security number. You put it over there, and it says select one of. So you need to select one: K-1 visa, K-2, and the spouse. So always remember this form, I-129F. It's only for K-1. If you are, if you click on the spouse, this is not a form for you. So if you are married, this is not a form for you. As you can see in question 5, it says if you are filing to classify your spouse as a K3, have you filed form I-130? So if you can't use this form, so if you want to bring your spouse over here, you need to use the I-130, which I will talk about it later. Yeah, I've talked about this before in my previous videos. You can check it out in my previous videos. That's I-130. So this form is you can use it for your family, to bring your spouse over here, to bring your parents, to bring your siblings. You can use all that. So you are talking about fiance. So you click on the fiance part. So you click on the fiance part and you click on no over here. Full name, petitioner. So the petitioner's information, the last name of the petitioner, you put it right here. The first name, you put it here. If you have a middle name, you put it right there. If you have used other names, you put it right there. If you don't have any other names, you have not used other names, you just leave it alone. And it says your mailing address. So you put in your mailing address in care of. So if you are living under someone, probably you just move to a friend's place or something, you have not changed your address, in care of, you put the person's name over here and you put in their address. But or if you're on your own, you put in your address over here. This not that necessarily needed. You put in the information over here. So your street number and name, so you put in your address. If you live in an apartment, you put it there. If you live in a street, you live in a floor, you put it over here. If you live in a house, probably you don't need apartment number and all that. You put it over here in the town, the city or town that you live in. So if you live in Baltimore, Alexandria, Reston, Vienna, whatever, put it over there. The state that you live in. If you live in Virginia, Maryland, if you live in Washington, if you live in New York, wherever you live, the state that you live, you put it here. And your zip code, you put in your zip code over here. So you see the drop down, it gives you the states, the aviation state that you live in. So as you put in your zip code, the province, the postal code, you don't really need it, and you put in the country, that to be the United States. And it says, is your current mailing address the same as your physical address? So your mailing address, are they the same as your physical address? If it's yes, you click on yes. If you click on yes, then you don't need to bother yourself putting in the information for physical address. But if you click on no, then you have to put in your physical address over here. So if your mailing address is the same as your physical address, you click yes and you leave this part blank. You leave all here blank. Then you jump onto the employment history. So with the employment history, wherever you work at, you put in the information, the address, the zip code, all the information about your employer. You put it right here. The employment start date, you put in when you started working. If you are currently working over there, you leave this place blank or you just put in present. And your occupation, whether you're a cashier, whether you are an accountant, you're a doctor, whatever you specify, you put it over there. If you have a second job, you put in that information over here. The same thing, you put in the information over here. The start date and the end date. If you are still working over there, you put in present. If you're not working over there, then you put in the when you stopped working over there. The other information is talking about your gender. Are you a male? Are you a female? You click on any of them. Your date of birth, you put it right there. Your marital status. Are you single? Are you married? Are you divorced? Are you widowed? Wherever you find yourself, you select one of these. Very important. You need to select one of these. Don't forget about it. The city, town, village of birth, where you were born. The city that you were born. And also there's province or state of birth. So the state of birth that you are. So if let's say you live in Ghana, so the city that you were born, let's say somewhere like let's say Nongwa. You put in Nongwa, that's the town. The state that would be in Accra, and the country that would be Ghana. Yeah, I'm from Ghana, so that's the country that I can use. So yeah. hmm So information about your parents, that's the petitioner. So you put in information about your parents. So your mom's information, you put it over here. Your dad information, you put it over here. You fill it up. Or whoever your guidance is, whoever you are, is your parent. You put it that information over there. So it says, have you ever been previously married? Have you been married before? If yes, then you have to fill this side out. So as you can see on my side, even if I click on yes, on my side, it doesn't allow me to edit it. So which means if you print it out, you have to put it in ink. But depending on the browser that you use, maybe to give you that permission to put in that information. But if it doesn't give you that permission, remember, just take a note. Make a note somewhere that question number 38, you need to write it up in ink and write it out boldly. So if you have been married before, you put in that information. But if it's no, then you don't have to worry yourself about this part. And it says your citizenship information. So how you were able to get your citizen, how did you become a US citizen? You need to select one of these. So if you are born in the United States, you select it. If you are naturalized, if you were born in a different country and you came into the United States, you got your green card, waited for 5 years, and you applied for the citizenship, and you went for the interview and you passed, and you went for the ceremony and you are given the naturalization certificate. You click on it. Your US, if you also got citizenship through any of your parents, your mom, your dad, your stepdad, your stepmom, whoever, you click on it. So you are born in a different country. Your dad or your mom came to the United States, get their citizenship before you turn 18 years. You're eligible to become a US citizen. So you click on any of these wherever you fall. And for the 41, it says, have you obtained a certificate of naturalization or certificate of citizenship of your own name? So with this one, If you are a naturalization, you automatically get your certificate number. But if you are born in the United States that you don't have a certificate, you don't have it. If you also got a citizenship through your parents, you don't have the certificate number. So this 40 and 40A and 40C, you don't have it. So if you fall within 48, you fall within 40A or 40C, you click on no. By 40B, you click on yes. 40B, you click on yes. So if you click on yes over here, then you come down to 42A, B, and C. You put in the certificate number over here, the place of issuance, the place that you the county that um, issued you the certificate, and the date that they issue. All that information will be on the certificate. So you look on the certificate and you fill that part out. And it says additional information. Have you ever filed from I-129F for any beneficial? So have you filed any information for, so have you filed I-129F for anybody before? Maybe for your current spouse, or maybe you filed for a different person before. You click yes. If no, if this is your first time, then you click on no. If you click on no, you don't have to worry about this side from 44 to 46. You don't have to worry about it. But if you click on yes, then you have to worry about this side. You know. So it's 47. What action did they take? So if you clicked on yes, then what action did they take? Did they approve it? Did they deny it? Or was it revoked? You put that information over here. And it says, do you have any children? So assuming you are filing for your fiance and you have a kid, one or two kids, or how many kids that you have, and you want to add them to the form, you click on yes and you put in their age over here. If no, you click on no, you leave this place blank. And if you need more information in the part 8 additional information, you fill out that form too. And I say I provide all US states and foreign countries in which you have resided since your 18th birthday. So still for the petitioner, which state that you have lived in, you put it there, United States. If you have lived in the different states, then you put in a country over here. As apart from if you have lived 18 years, you lived in a different country, then you put in a country. But if you have lived in the United States, you put in a state, then a country. Over here, then residence two, the same thing. Put it over here. That's your previous place that you lived in. And it says part two, that's information about your beneficiary. So information about your beneficiary, you put in that information about your beneficiary over here, their last name, first name, middle name if they have. So since your beneficiary doesn't have an alien number, you leave this place blank. After you can see if any, so it's not necessarily, it's optional. So this side, social security, no, they don't have it. Date of birth, you put their date of birth over there. Their sex, are they male, they are female, you put it over there. Their marital status, you select one of them. City, town, village of birth, wherever they were born, the city that they were born in, the town they were born in, the village that they were born in, you put in the name over here. Whatever country, you put it over here. Their country of birth, whether Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, wherever, you put in that information over there. The country of citizenship or nationality, you put it where which country their nationality, you put that information over here. Other informations, have they used any other name before? If yes, then you put in all that information. If no, you leave that place blank. Still about your beneficiary, you put in their mailing address. Their mailing address goes right here. You put in their mailing address. You fill that information out. You put it right here. If since your beneficiary doesn't deal the country, if their country deals with states, you put in the state. If they don't deal with states, you leave it blank. If they don't deal with zip code, you leave it blank, and you put in the postal code. And if they don't deal with postal code and all that, you put in the country over here. If you don't know, you just put in the country. You put in the address, the city or town, zip code, you leave it blank. If they deal with the state, you put it there. They deal with zip code, If they live over here, you put it in there. And it says your beneficiary address history, their address, history, their physical address. If the same as your mailing address, you put it right here too. You put their physical address right here. So date from so and so. So you always put in their current address. Yeah, the current physical address right here. And your physical address too. You just leave this place blank because if it is present or if you want to put in their past place that they lived in before, but it's not necessarily, so you just leave it blank. Employee for your beneficiary, if they have worked before or if they are currently working, you put on all that information. So if they have worked before, always put in the current employer. So if they are currently working, you put in that information over there. If they are not working, you leave it blank. So they side to the same thing. So information about your beneficiaries' appearance, you put in their appearance, their mother's information over here, and you put in their that information over here too. And it says 34, has your beneficiary ever been previously married? So your beneficiary, have they married before? If yes, then you click on this. If yes, you click on it, you fill it up this form, this part. If no, then you leave this part blank. 37, has your beneficiary ever been in the United States? Have they been in the United States before? If yes, then you have to fill it out this form. So if yes, how did they get into the United States? How did they come in? Did they come in as a visitor? Did they come in as a student? Did they come in as a temporary worker? However they came into the United States, you state it over here. When they got into the United States, upon arrival, did they have a record number I-94? The I-94, do they have an I-94? If they have I-94, you put in the I-94 number over here, which means they were checked at the airports. So if you were checked, if you came here legally, you will have I-94. If you came here legally, you have I-94. If you didn't come here, you came as illegal, you don't have I-94, so which means you were not checked at the airports. Yeah, so if you were checked at the airports, you will have this information. And the date of arrival, the day that they arrived into the country, you put it right there. It says so continuation about your beneficiary. It says did date authorized stay expired or will expire as shown on the form I-1. So the date authorized the I-1 for the date authorization will it expire, or so you put in the date over here, you put in your passport number. But if they haven't been to the United States before, you don't have to worry about this part. That is 8A, B, C, D. So as you can see over here, you don't have to worry to 38A all the way to 38H. So you don't have to worry about this all this information. But if you want, even though if you click on yes, if you click on no, you can still put in their passport number and the country that issued them their passport and the date that their passport will expire. You can put it there, even if they haven't been to the United States before. It still doesn't hurt. Does your beneficiary have children? Any children? Any children? Your beneficiary, do they have any children? So the children that they're asking, it could be you do have a child with you, but they have a child with their previous boyfriend or their previous girlfriend. If yes, yes. If no, no. And it says children of beneficiary. So if your beneficiary has any children, so if you and your beneficiary, you guys have children, you put in their information over here. So whether it's your children or it's not your children, whether it's a previous from their from their previous relationship, you put in all their information here. It says, does this child reside with the beneficiary? If yes, if no, you click on it, you select one of them. So if the child does not reside with your beneficiary, provide the physical address. So if the child does not reside with the beneficiary, then you have to provide the address where the child lives. So if the child lives with the beneficiary, you don't have to worry about this part. But if it doesn't live with the beneficiary, then you have to fill out this part. You know. So still continuation. fill out this part. You put in their phone number and all that. These are beneficiaries' fiscal address abroad. So your beneficiary, their fiscal address abroad, you put it there. Fiscal address abroad. So since your beneficiary haven't traveled before, you leave it blank. Since your beneficiary is still in the outside America, you don't have to bother yourself. He says your beneficiary's name and address in his or her native alphabet. So you just leave this side to blank. You don't have to worry about this side. And he says 51, is your beneficiary related to you? So are you guys related? So you guys are not related. So you have to click on no. Provide the nature and degree of relationship. So if you guys are related, then you put in the nature of the relationship that you guys are in. It says 53, have you or your beneficiary met in person during the 2 years? So have you guys met in person before? If yes, so always remember when you are filling out from I-129F, you guys have to meet within 2 years. Technically, that's the requirement. You need 2 years, so you click on yes. If you click on no, then which means you don't meet the requirement, so you click on yes. So if you click on yes, so item 53, describe the circumstances in your in-person meeting. So you have to give a detail information how you guys met and all that. You put in the much details over here, and it says international marriage broker. So did you meet your beneficiary through the services of an IMB, that's international marriage broker? So no. If yes, then which means there is an arrangement. It's you guys arranged it, so you don't want to be in that category. It's kind of rigs a red flag. But if you guys unfortunately get into that part, you have to fill this side out. That probably is an arranged thing, kind of thing. So you fill out this part, and you continue over here. If you continue to fill it out, the information about the IMB, the international broker thing, you continue, you fill it out. And it says a counselor processing information. A beneficiary will apply for a visa abroad at the US Embassy or US Consulate at. So the country that your fiance is, the US Embassy that will be going to, you put in the city or town and the country. You put it over here. So part 3, other information. So you have to read the criminal information. Read it thoroughly. It's a yes or no. Read it very, very thoroughly and pick the one that suits you. So if it's a yes or no, have you ever been subject to a temporal? So you have to make sure you answer it correctly. Don't lie. It's a yes or no. You pick any one of them. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. You fill it up. So you come here 3A. So it says if you were ever arrested or convicted of any of the specific crimes. So if you have been arrested with crime before, this is so if you have been arrested of any crime, you put it over here. So part 8, you put it. I need the additional information. It's in the part 8. You put in additional information over here. So if you don't fall within any category, just leave it blank alone. So you continue with the yes no thing. So if you haven't committed any crime before, just yes no. You just leave this side blank. You don't have to worry yourself about it. It says multiple file waiver request information. So if you are requesting for a waiver, you select one of these, A, B, C, D. So select of one of these information over here. If you're not requesting for a waiver, you just leave it blank over here and go to part 4. It says biographic information. So it will ask you about your ethnicity. So are you Hispanic or Latino? If no, you click on no. So your race, white, Asian, black, or African, African Indian, or Alaska Native. So wherever you find yourself, the race that you find yourself, you click on the race. And your height. So you put in your height and your inches. So if you are 5 feet tall, if you are 6 feet 8 inches tall, if you are 8 feet 10 inches tall, you put it that information over here. When you drop down, it gives you that inches. So the feet, it gives you up to the 8 feet, and the inches, it gives you up to let me see which inches. It gives you up to come on, man. So it gives out to 11 inches. So wherever the feet and inches that you find yourself, you put it there. And your weight, the pounds, it gives you in pounds. So you have to check in pounds. So if you, I know in America they use pounds. In other countries, in most countries they use kilograms. So you just have to convert it from kilograms to pounds, and you put in that pounds information over here. So your eye color, you see black, gray, maroon, blue, green, pink, brown, hazel, unknown. You select one of these. Your hair color, you select one of these. Part 5, you see it's a petitioner's contact information. So the petitioner's contact information, their phone number, their data phone number, their mobile phone number, their email address. If they are the same, you just put it there. Their email address. So always put in your email address. They have for the petitioner, you put in your email address. So you sign. So always make sure when you print it out, you print out the sheet, you sign and you put in the date. You sign and you date it. And it says, did you get any interpreter? Did somebody? So if you, the petitioner, you fill it up yourself, you don't have to worry about the interpreters. But maybe you don't understand English, so an interpreter was the one that translated the English to whatever country, whatever language that you understand. So the interpreter needs to put in their information. But if you didn't need an interpreter, just leave it blank. So the same as the interpreter's information, their phone number and all that. If you don't, so the interpreter's certification and signature, you put it there. The certificate and the signature, and you put in date. But if you didn't need an interpreter, you just leave it alone. And it says prepare, so it is somebody prepared for you. Maybe you went in for a lawyer, so the lawyer has to put in that information. But if you did it yourself, you didn't go to any attorney, immigration attorney or whatsoever, then you leave this place blank. But if you went to an attorney, then you put in that information over here. The attorney needs to sign and date. So if when you are filling out the form, you needed additional information. So this is the additional information, the page that you can add that additional information. So as you can see, 4B, it says if you need additional information, you put in that additional information over here. So 5D, so it goes with the number that it requires additional information. But if you don't need additional information, you don't have to worry about it. So guys, this is how you fill from I-129F alien petition for alien fiancé, petition of alien fiancé. This is how you fill out this form. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.